Okay, welcome into All About the Alternative. So, I just starting this off to do a little bit here and start off with just to say hi and how are you? And if you're joining me, please just let me know who you are and let me know who's around. And if you'll just bear with me for 1 second here. Oh, hang on, 1 second. Okay, folks, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, so hopefully you're joining me here live now. A little glitch. Excuse me. Um, so I had a little bit of glitch there. Anyway, so hopefully you're joining me now live, and we can do this. I want to try something. Hopefully I'll be able to try a few new things and new ideas for my channel here. Um, I'm hoping that let's see here. I wonder if that'll work. So, got some new ways I want to run. Hi, welcome in. Let's see if this works. So, bear with me here. I'm testing out some new things. There it is. So I'm going to try this out and see if I can share this. I don't know if it will share it. If you can let me know if it does work. Let's see how it goes. I've got a couple different things happening, but I've got some rules for this channel. So let's get started with that. Let me start it up. I'm glad you've joined us here. So just so you know, there are a few rules that I've set down for this channel, and hopefully we can adhere by them. So here's where we're going to do. So number one, this is meant to be a discussion and an understanding of ideas and ideals related to behavior and lifestyles, as well as cultures that embrace them. It is not a debate, not a change my mind, and is not a prove me wrong. Number two, if you're here to start a fight or to be rude, you will be kicked out. If I have moderators and the time we're having this discussion, they will do it. If not, it will be myself. Number three, if you have credentials when you come in, make them known, but be patient with the others that are in the room and in this chat on this channel. They are here to learn too. Please let them know though if you do have any credentials, because we do want to know about it. If you're a scholar, and if you're any kind of doctorate, if you have a degree of any kind, such as being a therapist or a psychologist in this field, please let us know. If you have a channel in any one of these as well, please let us know as well, because then I can actually bring in your channel on it and discuss that as well, because that gives us a little more information. But please remember to be respectful that these people that are in my chat as well, all the people that are part of my channel are here to learn. Okay, number four, as stated, this is to be a discussion. But as such, at no point is this channel taking a position of for or against cultures or lifestyles being explored that are not my own. Okay, so with that, let's get back to it. There we go. So hopefully I have to learn how to get that in a little better there, but hopefully I'll be able to use that from now on when I'm doing my live, so that you'll be able to see that. And I'll just maybe play that out once in a while. I have to figure out how to get it in there so that it's not showing me in the corner, but I'm learning, so bear with me how to do this. Anyway, it's all part of the process, I guess, Yeah, so I know I can share my screen and stuff like that, and so I can share the books that I'm sharing as well and talk about the books. And that's what I want to do. But for right now, I just want to start the discussion. Hopefully anybody joining me here will be able to just talk about it, and just talk about anything you want to talk about. We can talk about something in the news. We can talk about things that are going on anywhere, and whatever's going that you feel like talking about. If you've got a view on something, please share it. That's what this is all about. Nobody is here to critique anybody else or to say that they're wrong or that they're right. That's why I want to make it a discussion. Like I said, it's not a change my mind or a, you know, uh, make me see a different way of. It's not about that at all. I'm not here to make your change your mind about anything either. And that's where I want to go with this. And what I'm going to do with all of these lives, that's basically, those are going to be the rules set down. It's going to be a discussion. And so whether we go through a book or not, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes we can just have the conversation and just say, whatever's on your mind. So you can let me know with that. So if you are joining me here, I know this is going to take a while to catch on. I know that not everybody is going to join me at the time. Mostly my mornings or my afternoons right now is when I have some time. I may wind up doing one in the evening or so, but it depends on what else is happening. And, I know some of the people that are doing some lives too, that I don't want to get in their way or step on anybody's toes on anything on that. So the afternoon time is usually actually the best time for me to kind of step in here and do a little bit. And so that's why I'm doing it now. So hopefully you just can join me in on discussion. And the best thing to do is just to start off from the beginning of it with just introduction of who you are when you come in, and where you're from, maybe what the background is that you have, what any credentials that you do have. I am looking for someone to come in with, if you've got if you're a scholar of some kind, or whatever it is of your background, if you've got a psychology background. And I know there's lots of people on here that are creators that have their own background. Some of them are they're not they're no longer practicing the whatever they do. If they're ex-pastors, ex-rabbis, religious leaders, or they're no longer in the profession, that they're retired, and they were in those the professions that they were in. You can just share into that, that you have your ideas and talk about things. So I guess just we'll start off there and go as it goes. I do want to share the books that I have. Excuse me, my apologies. Hi, why not? Joseph. So you're from Africa, Kenya. Oh, that's amazing. Glad you came in. And basically what I'm looking for here is, I do want to talk about cultures. I do want to talk about behavioral science. That is my goal. I just went through a passion of looking up and finding out all information about different religions and different cultures, different relationships, different everything. And I'm taking a position in this whole thing of I'm not going to take a for or against any cultures or any backgrounds or anything. This is a coming together of learning about each other. I had a passion of that from when I was younger. I had friends that were of different religions, different backgrounds, came from different places, and we all learned about each other. We were fascinated with each other's backgrounds. And when a holiday came up for one of those backgrounds, whatever it was, we learned about each other just that way. And so I enjoyed it. It was really good. I really, got into it. And so as things went on, I talked to a lot of other people and got to know some other information. And I created a few ideals for some things in my own life. As the alternative, I look for other things and look for other ideas. Just that's a passion of mine, to look for the way to use something differently. How can you reuse something? If you look through a lot of my channel here, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff that how to fix something, how how to just work on something that is amazing. So I don't really have a topic today, Joseph. I'm bouncing off a couple of different things because I've tried this start this up so many times that a lot of times I haven't had too many people coming into my live at this point. This is sort of a kickoff because I've done it a few times now to just get started. But I do have the plan to put the books in play. So the one I did before was on behavioral science, was an introduction to behavioral science. I do have a second book on that I want to bring in. So I do want to do that. So that is my plan. And then there's the humanities. There's another book on humanities. There's everything that I could possibly find. Like I said, this is a major scope. So it's a broad topic. There's about 200 books that I so far have. Not with the intention of going through the books of saying I'm going to go through every single piece of those books. I'm going to probably find like a chapter or something that we'll probably go through, that we'll read through and discuss it, talk about what your thoughts are on it. This is not meant to be like, if I do wind up going through, and I do have them, is of course, Bible, Torah, Quran, Dianetics, Book of Mormon, pagan studies. I have all of it. Trust me, I've really done a whole lot of stuff to find a whole lot of stuff about this. And of course, the other thing is covering relationships, covering governments, different styles of government. Of course, I'm in Canada myself, as you can probably tell from the flags here. I'm in Canada, but I want to look into. I do have the information on some of the governments of different areas, different cultures, countries that I want to look into and talk about. And of course, anybody has an insight to it. Like, if, for example, if you're from Africa, you can talk about something that is in where you're from, and just share it. Share what you're about. My background is actually Jewish. I'm conservative Jewish background, and so I will come to the table with my background. But as I had stated in the beginning here, I'm coming in with I do not take a for or against for any of the cultures or religions that we talk about. So it'll be broad scoped, just a general talking about it, sharing whatever you'd like to share about it. Would you like to talk about? Would you like to share anything about what your culture is, or what area of Africa you're from? So that's something you could do. So that's where I'm going to go. So I apologize. I'm looking over the side of the screen here because that's where the chat is. So I'm trying to bring it over a little bit here, but that's a little bit of one problem I've got right now, is it's sitting slightly off to the side here. So I will work on that. Media Watch, how are you? And welcome in. And I will replay my rules afterward again, but hopefully you're coming in to join me here and join in discussion. And I'm just basically kicking this off. I've done a few times I've done already, actually, where I've tried to just start this off. Didn't quite catch the first couple of times, which I didn't expect because this whole thing is new. So I'm getting it started, getting it going, and as we get it going more, and I have more people coming in all the time, and hopefully frequently the same people that are well, not always the same. I like to get new people, obviously, but I'd like to get some of the people that are interested and to take care of learning, just generally learning about each other and all that stuff. Media Watch, what's your background? What's the culture you're in? And anything you'd like to bring into it, we'll try the best to bring into into the live, and we'll go from there. I'm prepared to bring a book in to it at this point, but I'd like to bring some people in and have the conversation first. See where we all stand, and get more going as we can. I will try to do these lives as often as I can. time being a factor, life being a factor. I can't always do it consistently at the exact same time. I'd love to, but I will do my best to try and do it. But that's the way it works sometimes. If we find a decent time, maybe I'd love to do an evening time, but there's just so many people that have an evening time for their time slots that I don't know what my best one would be. But and that's the whole thing is it's an all around the world. I mean, if you've got why not Joseph? You're from Africa here, if and you're from Texas, so I always want to bring in that a little bit and just talk in that. So you're saying you're retired, 64-year-old conservative, married 39 years, and you're Christian, but denounce organized religion due to human corruption. Okay. Okay, I'm glad I've caught your attention. That's great. So I'm hoping it catches on a little bit more. I believe in the inclusion. Just to maybe that should be brought into this. I believe in inclusion, not exclusion. I myself, my background being Jewish, I've dealt with people that persecution, if you want to call it that, where what I said about my own religion or whatever, and someone is another culture or religion, they don't want to, it's their way and the highway, and that's it. And I don't believe in that. I believe in both. I believe in let's just have the conversation. If you're whatever background you are, come into it with the table with let's learn about each other. Like I said, when I was growing up, I had friends that just talked about their religions and talked about their cultures, talked about anything going on, because I had a group that just came from everywhere, and we just learned about each other, and that's all that that's always the fun part. And I learned a lot. I wasn't able to do a lot of traveling. I would love to be able to do some traveling if I ever could. I just wasn't in the position to, or life being what it is, I just never really had the opportunity to do real traveling that I would love to have done, but I always was searching for the information to know about places, learn about everywhere else other than just my own place. And coming into contact with anybody that I just learned about or got to know, it just, that was, tell me about yourself, whatever your background is, if you're whatever it is. But like I said, this whole thing, one of my rules for this channel is this isn't to change my mind or it's not a debate of any kind. I just want it to be a open forum for let's learn. And like I said, I have all these books that I did gather up, and it's not with the intention of, when I start going through, like I have the Torah and the Bible, it's not a Bible study. I don't want that to be that either. I may take a page out of it and say, hey, well, let's, or a chapter out of, well, not a chapter, but a section out of it, and say, well, let's look at this section and talk about it or whatever. It's probably only going to go for that part of it. But there's a lot more to it, though. So this book started off with behavioral science, which I did the other day. So if you want to go back to that video after this one, you can go do that. And that basically just talks about the kickoff of why I'm doing the behavioral science and the humanities part of it. There's another book I have that's like some of them are a little longer than others. But the humanities book is about 120 pages. I don't want to cover 120 pages because there's other things that, other chapters in it that I'm not actually going to cover. But the actual ones that I want to cover, such as the religion, the relationships, the actual cultures, governments and stuff like that, and philosophy, psychology, those I'm going to cover when I do that. So, like I said, this just is something to catch on today, or the first few times I've done this is just to let it catch on. Let's talk. There's no other way to really get this started other than say, hey, I'm here. Let's start the conversation. So if I jump right into the book or jump right into whatever portion of whatever I'm doing, it doesn't let me get to know who my viewers are. And I will be doing a live next Monday, probably in the afternoon, because my channel as of that date will be 19 years old. And so I do want to do that. Now, I started off 19 years ago with another, started the channel off, left, about a TV show called Fame. So if you go back to any of those ones, that's what that was for. Everyone was doing media back then of some kind of TV show, and I just took that one because I had a passion for it, and I put it out. And so I put that there. Sorry if my ums and ohs here. I'm still new to this as far as doing it live. But I was putting up all that stuff too, and putting up the performances and stuff like that. You couldn't put a full show up back then because you could only put like 10 minutes or 100 megs. And then after that, the creator was paying for putting it up on YouTube. And I wasn't paying for it back then. I was just playing around with it and just sharing the stuff, right? So I put it in there. And then, of course, I kind of left it dormant. I check back on it frequently, but I put all the stuff up there 19 years ago. And once it was all up, I think it took me a couple months to actually get all of it loaded up. And then I kind of left it. I watched it grow a little bit. I saw the subscribers all coming in. I was doing another job back then. I didn't have time for really spending any time on it. And as I didn't realize, I realized that people were starting to do YouTube as a business and doing it as a they were getting paid for it because, of course, that changed and they got advertisers. And of course, that's when I realized, well, I should have been doing that, and I started taking more of an interest. But again, I didn't have the time for it. So the beginning of January 2024, I rebranded this channel and started fresh not fresh, but I started to revamp the channel into what it is now. And I've just had all these. I have gadgets, I have recipes, I have all the cultures. All the things I wanted to share here. And it's been a slow process getting going for what I really wanted. Again, time being a factor, life being a factor, I now have more time to kind of devote to it. But because I already had the subscribers, I already had the watch hours on the channel, I pretty much had I got my monetization on that. And it's just a steady growth, steady starting. And I kind of put it aside. This is something I planned to do from the beginning was to talk about these humanities and and behavioral science. Just so happens that 2 weeks ago I decided that day was the day I was going to start launching it, and didn't realize the events that were taking place that day. And we're not going to get into that unless I don't want to get into it that way. But it was my plan to do all along. So I thought doing it as a live, though, was more beneficial. I could have just done it as I'll read the books and anybody can comment below and say what they want. And you can still do that, of course, when you're joining this live or when you're joining this on the replay. If you'd like to put anything into the comments about it, go ahead. Any views you have on it, I'd love to hear that. So I've always had this alternatives attitude, looking for something. If somebody had a different way they wanted to do something, and learn about it. So now you know a little bit more about where I came from on this. I just wanted to get that because otherwise you wouldn't know where I come from. Go ahead if you'd like to ask a question. What's your question on behavioral science or media watch? Okay. Since human behavior is based on evolution, it cannot be foundation-based science based on fact. Logically, it would be theory based on current averages. Well, there's a part to that too. That's I'm going to read in the books that are talked about. I'm looking more on the relationship of being like actual behavior, relationship behavior, and the humanities side is looking at philosophy, philanthropy, um, and just looking at what kind of I guess we kicked it off with, like, I'm kicking off with humanities because that's actually the branch of, or the collective part of all of it. So it would be based on theory. And actually, yes, actually, I guess then it would be based on theory. So I do, like, obviously I have the books. That's why I got the books to do it, because I had a theory myself. I had a couple of theories that I was making in my own mind and my own life about some things that were being said to me, some things that were talked about, and so that's why I brought it into that, and I said, well, I wanted to learn more, and not just what I already knew, but I wanted to learn more. So that's when I developed and got all the books on it and stuff like that. So just to answer that part of that. That's what I'm trying to do. It actually does have that in the I guess that's where I took it from. I actually took the book that was the text of humanities and the text of behavioral science, and it gave me this list of all the things that would have been part of the course that involved it. And then I went and looked for all the rest of it. So I looked, well, they're not the texts that are the original texts that were suggested. Well, they are, I guess. They're similar too, but I couldn't get every single one the exact same one that was mentioned. So I tried to find something that brought in the same idea or the same thing, I guess. I don't know how to really put that, but I do have all of those books now, including when I have all of the books about religions and stuff like that. I'm looking at it as a cultural standpoint as well. So that's why I'm welcoming in someone who is like, I'm not a scholar. I took a course, part of a course when I was in college, dealt with a lot of part of this. It wasn't what I went to college for. I guess a lot of people, that is what I've seen a lot of people do. They go to college for something and they walk away with, this is my actual interest. And so that's maybe that's where I kind of took it. Though it's not my job, but it's something that I branched as an interest, and it's always been there. So, and we're talking like 30 years here. So, but it's just an interest. Okay, it's not I'm not a professional in that department or anything. I'm just using it as something to talk about. I'm using it as a jumping point to talk about. And so that's why I want to bring them in, talk about things that are, anyway. So yeah, exactly. So you're saying you went to SMU for business and you left with law. Okay, exactly. I know a lot of other people that have just said, okay, well, they take a branch of what they learned and that's what they go to, their job for. And maybe they go back to school later on in life when they say, hey, this is the real thing I wanted to go to school for. I'm just not in the position to go back to school. I could go back to school, I guess, at 50, but I'm not looking to go back to school at this point. I just wanted to learn. And so I don't have any purpose of it to become a spiritual leader or anything like that. I'm just trying to say. So, but yeah, so I'm welcoming in, though, anybody who does, if they are a scholar, please join me in here when we're discussing these things. I don't even have to bring up the book, to be honest. Someone else can come in and bring in a topic if you'd like as well, and go from there. And I figured this was one way to just come in and just, and start off the conversation. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff here that, like I said, it's not necessarily the book. And I fully believe that. And I don't believe that culture is a book or religion is a book. It's there. It's part of the background of it. And it's what you use to community to get to know and do. But it's not every piece of it. It's not all of that religion and culture. And so it's, when you're born, you learn from your family what your relationship or your background is, and you take parts of that and make decisions on it. Okay. So you have come on another channel. Okay, I'm really glad you're joining me today, and I will do more of this. Like I said, this is a jumping point to get started and do more. If I don't know if this is a good time or not, I may wind up trying for a different time slot later on. So keep in mind that. Maybe click that bell and you'll get notification for it. I'm glad you joined me today, and I will get to know you more as time goes on. So hopefully that's one of the things that I'm looking for. And if you'd like, go back and watch some of the other videos and some of my other content. And if you have something you'd like to contribute to them or whatever, you can comment on them. And hopefully you'll like some of them as well, and help my channel to grow if you let other people know. And that's all I can help for. That's really that's, in any case, with anybody that is coming into these shows, that's all you can do. And I'm not doing this really. I had hoped to do it evergreen, but I mean, it's not necessarily going to happen that way. But hey, I can do my best. So anyway, yeah. I don't think I'm making this a long video today anyway, but this at least lets you know where I'm jumping from, and when I bring up and I come in, we can talk about a lot of it and go from there. So yeah. Is this actually a good time that you would join me on if I did it for afternoons, or would mornings be better? You can put that in the comments too if you'd like as well. So if that would be better, then I'll find a time that would actually work better over time. Yeah. So I don't know who else is joining me today, or anybody else is in here, but I'm really glad that I was able to have a conversation with Media Watch, and hopefully I don't know if Joseph is still in here, but he's welcome to come again as well. So I don't see if anybody else is in here. But yeah, that's what this is all about. I've always looked for being the alternative, I guess. So there you go. I am the alternative for that reason. I believe in, I don't want the whole, this is one thing, this is another thing, and we cannot meet, we can't make ends meet to say, hey, we're going to get to know each other, because, whatever. I know that I see it so often. And a lot of what's happening right now is this division, and I want to close that gap. That's my biggest thing, is closing that gap, and there's no need for that gap. In today's environment, today's life, that maybe you needed it 2,000 years ago. Maybe you needed that, or even a couple hundred years ago. Maybe you needed that gap. But today we don't need that gap. We just need to know about what each other is. So yeah, I'm doing this live here in between the Rosh Hashanah was the last 2 days, and Yom Kippur comes next week for the Jewish religion. So I mean, there's that. But so I actually could have done a little bit more about those things. I could have done a little more on the religion itself. One thing I will be doing very soon, we'll be actually doing individual sectors or the denominations of Judaism as well, and bringing that in. So I will be doing that. I don't know if I'm going to do it as a live. I may just wind up doing those ones as separate when I get the opportunity to do so. But again, those are all things that if you see them, you can comment on them and let me know what your thoughts are. And I do want to bring in and talk about some of the other things. Like I said, I have all the books for the Book of Mormon and Dianetics and even pagan studies. I actually got a book for that recently. I haven't had a chance to go through that one yet to decide where I'm going to, where that's going to fit in here. But I do want to bring it in and talk about it. And like I said, that's just a part of just learning everything. And then, of course, there's relationships. There's gender studies in the relationship side. So there's some of that to talk about, and it will be brought up. It will be some of this as well. It's the discussion has to. You just have to start the discussion, and we can talk about it. And like I said, my position is I'm not taking a for or against any culture or religion other than to bring up my own when I need to. That's, but I'm not taking a for or against any other religion or anything else, but I'm not even taking that stance for my own religion. I welcome in anybody's view as my plan. So like I said, this isn't to change my mind. It's not it's just not that's not really what I wanted this to be, so it's not a prove me wrong either. That's what I was going to say. Sorry, it's not a prove me wrong. It's not a debate. It's just everybody coming into this with whatever they've got, and we'll jump from there. And it's I don't know how I can bring that up on the screen here, but I have some of the screenshots that I've created for my own channel that I was going to bring up. So that's the best way I can suggest it here. That's all I can do. And so if you get to know me a little bit more, every time I do this, you get to know me a little bit more. I don't believe in I'm not looking to criticize other channels or anything else. This is not really where this is going from. There's some ideas behind some other channels that do bring up some of this as well, and I welcome in other channels coming in to talk about their background on it. So when we get the chance, and there's that new thing coming that we can do streaming from YouTube's live point as well, I will bring in some other people who will, from other channels perhaps, that will be able to jump in with me and have a conversation too. I do want to do that. So I'm glad that YouTube is finally just doing that, so I don't have to do it from a different platform. I do have access to doing from Rumble to do the connection, but I have been basically sticking to YouTube. I don't really want to stick to go with any other platforms on this, because I mention YouTube too often as I'm doing this stuff. So it just makes sense that I'm keeping it on YouTube. Okay, so with that, I guess I'm probably going to close this off pretty soon. If anybody else is joining me on it, please feel free to come in and just, like Media Watch just did, coming in. If you've got questions for me, if you'd like to discuss something, I'll try to do my best to read whatever it is that you're trying to bring up and to talk. And that's the only way I can actually bring your information into my live at this point right now. But I will be able to do some of the others later, because they do have that ability coming very soon. That's a new features of YouTube that I will be able to actually access and make use of. So I'm planning on doing that. So I'm really glad that those things are now coming available just in YouTube itself, rather than having to use a streaming service or something else. I don't know how much more. I don't really know if I want to, go in with some of those other places. Like I said, I do have Rumble though, that I could create that as well, but like I said, it's just easier to do from YouTube itself. So I'm sticking to that. And yeah. So I'm like I said, I know there are some places that I've looked at what some other people have said, and of course, I may bring an opinion on that way. I guess that's a part of the plan. I will bring up some of that, so hopefully that will, they'll be able to come in themselves and say their opinion, and um, you know, I hope I'm not doing the wrong thing here. I don't want to be doing the wrong thing. That's not my plan. I don't want to be controversial. I never really intended to come in as a controversial thing. And this was all just, um, it's an entertainment thing to talk about all of it. And if we want to, we can bring up some news stories going on. I do want to do that. I can bring up some news stories that are happening in the world and stuff like that. Uh, the first time I kicked this off, of course, I was doing my live and did the whole thing on the whole behavioral studies introduction and got off my live and then learned what was going on in the news that day. Uh, I wish it hadn't happened. I really wish it hadn't happened. But they're not correlated. Trust me. That's, it's just happened to happen that way. And there's, made me feel really not very good that day about what was going on. But my live that day and the events that took place are not correlated. Anyway, but at that, I'm going to leave it there. And I only intended to go to about 2 o'clock today. I will try my best to create another live like this in the future, and hopefully you will join me for that. Hopefully you can give me that like and a subscribe to me as well, so you will see more of my videos and more of my content. Please look at most of the content from January 2024 on, unless you're interested in the old stuff. I will be planning on going live hopefully next Monday. I'm not sure about the time yet, but I will be planning on doing a live on Monday because it's my 19th. It's the start of my 19th year with YouTube, and with the events that took place this year with my channel, I am looking to celebrate that. And with YouTube's 20 years, so I was 1 year behind that when I got my channel started, and so I'm going to kind of celebrate that a little bit, and let's see how it goes. Anyway, with that, have a great day. Miracles happen every day, and I'm glad you joined me today. Have a good day.